I'll do a quick animation of this character jumping, and the jump is pretty easy, but there is some challenge to it. And let's take a look. First thing I'll do is make sure I'm selected on the top skeleton, and that particular thing would be helpful to switch on all these skeleton bones. So the first thing I'll do is make sure I'm on frame 1. Here's frame 0 right here, and that's weird. Usually it would split up like that. There it is. But that's because I was on this here. This allows you to rotate the character to test them out and make sure they're rotating properly and all that stuff. So with this particular jump, see, that's frame 0. If you go to frame 1, it resets everything. So now that I'm on frame 1, first thing I'll do is get her ready to be preparing to jump, and that would be the default, well, not default, but the rest animation before she jumps. But before I do that, I have to select all the items that will need to be animated. So I'll do that right now, and usually if you select the very outermost limb, that will affect everything underneath. So the only thing I have to do is select this piece here, which is the pivot point, because that piece will allow the height difference. So the first thing I'll do is, let's see, she has to bend down to prepare to jump. So I have to go to frame, I'll say frame 6, and this will actually, the first thing I'll do is go like this so I can see how far she's going to bend to prepare to jump. And you could probably go like this if you want. I think I'll just animate it like this. You could go like this. This would work. Or you could go like this. This would be a really high jump. And then I'll just move this in like that. And then her hair, I lost one of the pieces there, so I have to fix that. I should probably do that like right now. And that reminds me, I'm not even in the right setup here. I'm supposed to go to actions. So let me go right now to actions under the window actions. And this is like really helpful for speeding up some of the basic animations. This way you don't have to redo it every time. So I do have to fix this hair. Somehow it fell out of place. So I'll go to frame 0 where you fix everything. And let me look at that long strand of hair. Somehow this piece disappeared. So I have to try to fix it, but I think it's gonna wreck everything else. I'll just see what happens. Let me well, it's been saved, but let's just take a look. So the first thing I'll do is click on that one there, then I'll create a piece here, and that piece would have to connect to this. So the way I'll do that is click on the connect and just go right there. That's gonna probably cause an issue here though. So this piece would connect to this here. I don't know if that's gonna work, but one quick way to find out is just pull the hair up and see it's not working right. What I would do is just delete all that and start from scratch. So one way you could see how that affected everything is to go into your walk animation, and this should be all messed up for the walk. If I could get it to work. So here's the walk. Oh, surprisingly it didn't mess it up. I thought this would be all out of proportion there. Alright, so I didn't do my run animation yet. I could put that in there. But before I get to any of that, I have to fix that piece down there. So I'd have to go back to frame 0, and then I have to decide what to do with this. I'll just delete it, and then this piece here I'll do that, and then this piece here I'll bring this up a little and pull that down to fill in the void there. So if I move it, let's see what that looks like. See, that's properly lined up now. It's a little clumsier, but it'll work. The only test now is to see the the walk animation. See if I have to redo it, or like the hair part, or see if it animated properly. Yeah, it looks like it extended it way too far there. You can see it goes under her shoes, which is wrong. That means it was affected. So the way to solve that is I have to go here and then click here and here, and then when it's down here I'm just going to pull this up to there and then pull that up to there. This way it doesn't exaggerate as far as it's going down there. And then I'll just test the rest of it. But something like that is not too critical. Then I have to test the stand as well. So I'll just go through this one by one, and that works. So I'll just go to the stand and I'll test this. It should not expand or get longer for the hair. Alright, that's good. Now the run, I could do that right now. Let me just get to that. The run is pretty tricky, but I'll put it together now. So once again, I'll click on all these lower keyframes. I'm in this tool here. It's called Manipulate Bones. So this tool is the one that moves your character around as far as the limbs. See, these bones here are all close together, so it's really kind of tricky to get through all that. Alright, so I'll just close off these, make those arms invisible, and then for that I'll just simplify that as well. So here's the first frame. I have to create the keyframe for her position, her height, and now I'll copy, paste to frame 12, and then frame 24, because that'll give me the in-betweens, which I'll start right now. And the first thing I'll do is, let's see, actually with her run, she'll be in the middle of a run pose. So let me have her already bending her knee, and then this would be like that, and then the hair would already be back. Her arm would be probably about there, and then her other arm would be about there. So that would be the, oh, and she'd be leaning forward a little bit in a run. Her hair could be back a little bit more. And then this piece here, I guess, could be like that. So now I have it where I want it. That's the neutral stance, and I'll just paste that to these two here. Alright, so now I would move this leg forward over here in the air, and then this leg back here in the air. The hair is going to be going back through the wind. Her torso is going to move forward a little bit. Her arm's going to extend backwards. She's actually going to be switched to her fist arm because she's in the middle of a run. And usually you clench your fists when you're running to make it easier. You don't have to. But there we go there, and then this piece really doesn't need to move around too much. But then, let's see, this will be going backwards. And then the height, I'm not worried about yet. So I have to jump to this frame here. This leg's going back this time. This leg's going forward. Like that. This arm's going forward. Her torso's moving forward a little bit again. And this, that's weird. This arm has to go back. Like that. Oh, okay, I got that right. So then her head could move a little bit. Her hair will bounce back like that. And this thing could be like that. So now all the fine tuning starts. And the first thing I'll do to fine tune it is, this is where I move her up because she's going into the air. And then here I'll move her up going into the air again. You could really exaggerate it a little bit. So those keyframes here bring her back down to the earth, and then this one brings her into the air. Wow, that's really messed up. That one leg is all weird with the animation. See, it shouldn't. Oh, I know why. Because this should be like that, right? No, that's the wrong item. I have to click on that, and then her leg would be going down like that. So in this pose here, that would be up there. This back leg is going to be like this, bent. Then this back leg is still bent over here, and that leg is straight because it's hitting the ground. Hits the ground. That leg should be bouncing forward. Not quite yet though. Let's see, this leg's kicking back. Now this leg, let's see. That looks better. I just have to test it now. So that leg, let me just look at the front leg. And then it's going to kick back like that. Good. And moves forward. Alright, the front leg is good. Back leg, let me look. Good. Alright, I think that's pretty good. right there is where it hits the ground, so this will bounce up a little for our back leg. But now I'll do the further fine tuning. So the first thing I'll do is this up here, the nest. So it's going up in the air now, so that's pushing the nest, and because it's going forward, the wind's blowing it back and the force pushing up's kicking it sideways. So right here it should still be sideways because it's just reached the top. Now is where it should be going this way, because it reached the top and the pressure's off. So now it should be falling downward like that, and then once it hits the ground here, it'll bounce back instantly. So it hits the ground, bounces back right away, and here it should still be going back, and then here is where the pressure's off, so now it could bounce forward, and then it continues, so it'll look like that. And that really gives it a lot more expression. And the bird nest is just part of the parody. There's no real logic to it. She's a caring individual, so she's taking care of the little birds she found in the castle. Alright, so let's see. I'll just zoom in here to make this easier. And now this part here is for this, her upper torso, her chest. So I have to figure out how this is going to work. Alright, the pressure's towards the ground. Now the pressure immediately, let's see, towards the ground. The pressure lets up here, so the pressure's gone. And this will add a lot more variation to your animation. Give it the secondary layers really add more personality to your animation. So there's that. Now this part here hits the ground, so the pressure's off on these physics right here. So it hits the ground. Now going up into the air, the pressure's towards the ground, and here it starts to ease up right about there. So that brings that forward. And then this should still be forward. Frame 24 I might just get rid of. But yeah, right there, and then alright, so that solves that problem. I think I got most of the character animated. Let's take a look. So I could shut this off, I could save it before I lose it, the file, and just look at the animation now. Now I want to test what I have here. So I have to go to frame, actually this frame. Let me just keyframe this here, her position. There it is. This way I have a, and then I'll keyframe all of these again, make sure they're all selected, so they're all keyframed. And then her positioning here, because I'm going to delete this probably, and then when I copy paste I just want to make sure that that connects, Because if I leave this in here, this frame here, look how similar that is to frame 1. If I copy paste this here, I have to either delete frame 1 or frame 24. But by deleting frame 24, copy paste to 24, let's see how that transitions. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. It took me a while to figure that out. I was like, well, don't I need frame 24? It's a 1 second animation. But as long as you have that gap there, it'll transition right back to 1. So since frame 24 and 1 are practically the same, to vary them even slightly is impractical, because it's just going to look like a slow motion at that point versus all the other frames. So that's why I just delete it. So now that that's finished, I have that saved. Now I could go back to the jump, and the jump is just in case she has to jump to a higher platform or something like that. And it's like a really basic move, but it's pretty helpful too. It's like a key movement. And then the kick is a key movement, and a punch is a key movement. Stuff like that. Where her height would vary, so by adjusting that with the action, you save a lot of time. But later on, if you have to paste it in. So let's see, I have to go to frame 1, which I'm at, and then just click on all of these, the lowest limb of where you want to have the animation move. This sets all the keyframes for frame 1 by clicking on it. And then, because she's going to change her height, I'll go into that tool there and then click there. That tool is called the Translate Bone. That moves the bone, and you could change the scale of it and the rotation and so on. Alright, so now that I'm on frame 1, she has to prepare to jump. And this is what I was working on earlier, but then I realized I had to fix the hair. So I could go like this, similar to the other character I have. And then for this hair, this is going to drop down like that, since there's no more pressure on it. It has to yield to the ground. Now that is a bit of a problem there. That limb for the hair is a little clumsy, so there's not too much I could do. It should have smoothly bent and then turned, but it's not critical. And I mean, it's just a fun little animation. If it was some bigger project, then I'd be a little more concerned about it. But it's pretty minor, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so here we have her preparing to jump, and I forgot I have to duplicate these frames. No, I don't. This is the jump. So here I have to, because she's not repeating anything. So here I have to check her shoe position, which is just above the word, right on line with frame 1 here. I can see that shoe starts right there, the front foot. So if that foot is over there, I could line, actually she'll move backwards a little bit. I could just line it up there. So you could see she moves forward, and then so that shoe pretty much goes back to where it was, but there's way too much movement here, so I have to have to move this so she's more aligned. Yeah, that's better. See how she's stabilized instead of bouncing all over? And that's because it's on a curve, a smooth curve for the in-between. So actually, if I wanted to, I could probably delete this and just go with a, you would go right click onto this or whatever, click, and then you would go linear. But because I want the rest of the animation smooth, I'm not going to mess with that right now. So now that she is here, I'm not worried about this or any of the complicated stuff for secondary animation yet, but I just have to make sure the hair is on the right path here, since it's such a major part of her. Alright, so that right here, the pressure is off because she's moving downwards quickly, so that would be like that. She's still falling downwards, so the pressure is up. There's actually no pressure, and then here the pressure is gone, so the gravity takes over. And then for this, you just go like that. This could go like that. This will bounce backwards. That, and now I'll just, what this is part is called the recoil or the coil. So what that means is I could just duplicate, actually let me keyframe these too. And then I'll just copy paste to frame 12. Now it looks like a duplicate frame. Actually, I could probably just duplicate this one. Copy and then paste that there. It's not really critical, but okay, she's getting ready to jump, so she's going to be like this. Alright, I didn't want to move her hair. So she's preparing to jump. Her arms are going to recoil backwards in preparation for the jump. These legs are going to tense up from the muscles really getting prepared to bounce forward into the sky. Let's see this piece here. So here's the, okay, so that's still moving backwards. Alright, now there's going to be a sudden burst of energy that brings her right to this position. So here it is, all of a sudden. This has to happen quickly, and the reason is she's releasing all this energy that has to move up into the air quickly. So this arm will be moving up, and when I was drawing it, when I was assembling it, I intentionally made these legs out of proportion with her arms, so her arms look tiny in comparison here. Alright, so this hair is still moving upward. Her face should be, let's see, so this should probably be going forward a little bit. And next thing I'll do is frame 18, where I'll actually have her in the air. So here's the effect of her jump, reaching into the air. Her back arches a little bit. The hair would be going straight down at this point. All the pressures forcing it straight down. The arms would be higher up. Her head would be forward. So I have to adjust the hair straight down. Pressure still here. It hasn't eased up yet. Here is where it's going to ease up as she's falling back to the ground. So I'll do that right now. And what that does is affects the hair. So the hair is going to start to fade in its grip from the upward force. Her arms will be going into their full height. I have to zoom out for this piece here as the pressure's off. So now it's back to neutral. I'll zoom in again. I won't need that again. And now she's going to fall towards the earth. So I have to make sure, let's see, she's right there. She goes way too low to the ground with her shoes, so we have to move that up here. Otherwise she'd be going through the ground. So moving that up, I'm looking at her legs now. See, this should actually bring her up a little over here. So let me do that instead, because she's reached the top. She's not going to just reverse direction all of a sudden. So here's where she was there, and this is just a slight increase in height. But all the pressure's off at this point, so that's why you can move all this like that. Not quite so much yet. And then here is where she'll start to go back towards the ground. So I'll copy this one again, but now I'll reverse it with the hair, which is starting to be affected by the downward fall. And now her arms are starting to move downward again as she's preparing to brace herself for the landing. So this foot can go forward a little bit, and then this leg will prepare for the landing. And here, right at this frame, is where she's going to hit the ground. So let's see. This would be the keyframe right here. So rather than redo it all, since she's alright. So she jumps up. There's that slight hold in the air, and now she's falling to the ground. Here's where I'll just paste that keyframe right here. So here she is, she's falling towards the ground. I just have to adjust the secondary pieces to match what I had earlier. This piece will be falling downwards. This piece could be up even further. And then here, she'll bend down a little bit. She won't go to her full bend. So rather than, let's see, I'll keyframe this because that'll work. So I'll just keyframe this too. I'll just use this one. So this is immediate. I could vary it up a little bit. See? I'm supposed to copy the keyframe. Copy, paste right here. Now I have to adjust the position. So her shoe hits there, right around frame, the word frame 30, her left shoe, so it has to be right about there now. Frame 32. See how it stabilizes to the front, so that'll, and what I'll do is I'll just bring this foot forward right there, and she has to lean forward too to balance that positioning. This will be on the ground at this point, so here it is. Actually, I could curve it out a little, give it a little more of a flow so it flows down. This will be up like that. So she hits the ground here. Alright, I think I got it. And now she'll go back to her frame 1, which is here, and just paste it there. So that goes like that. These should be going backwards, these arms. And that helps her balance better. So I'll go to frame 2, just copy paste this, and I'll just adjust this slightly to show that she's responding to that movement and not just stopping instantly. And then I'll double check these secondary items. So here's that. That's going to push your hair forward a little bit, maybe like that. Then I'll push the eggs forward. This will move forward a little. Then that'll drop right away because there's weight to it. think that's it. So the way to test it is to first save it, since that's a lot of work right there, and then just look and see what you got there. This is slow motion. I can't, well, I could press play, but if I press play, it's not going to animate properly. I'll press play just to show what it does. So there it is. There's the jump animation. I'll render these out, and here's play. See, it's so choppy because it can't catch up. There's too much going on. When you render it out, that solves all the playback. So what it would look like if she's jumping and going through that, you could just do a quick preview, and this is pretty much what it would look like with the fine tuning. This here and this here is really challenging to get just right. I'm starting to think maybe I could just create, instead of having one leg combined, maybe I could just have this limb here, the calf, be separate from the lower leg, the shin, and then just blend them together, and that would create a much cleaner curve where this would continue and that would just connect, and there would be no issue there. That's something to think about. I haven't tried that yet. That would create a little more work, but that might be an idea to consider. See, this still, it works. It's not too bad, but it could be better. But that's part of the challenge of keeping that as a single piece and then trying to bend it. Alright, so that worked, and I'll go into my double click on mainline, go to frame 1, and now I'll put all this together. And with the run, I'll just have her arms open for this. Only because this is a test animation and not the final thing. But if it was the final animation, I'd go into here and then just make these visible. But I'll just save a step here. Well, actually, I'll see what happens here. I'll just animate it, and then I'll have her hands bend so they're fists, just to show what step is required. Alright, so here it is. We're on the main line. She'll be standing. That's her first thing, and then I'll go have her stand right here. I'll delete those. I don't need those. She'll go right into her walk. I have to delete this frame here because it's actually 0 frame. It just copied it in there. So she'll start her walk. I have to do that a little smoother here. So here she is here. Alright, so she gets the walk underway. This here I can move in a little closer, so it's a little smoother. And now she's going to go into her run. So I'll move this out here first so it's got some room to work with. Wait a second, that's the wrong button. So here she is here. I'm on run. I have to click on this here, which is insert copy. So I'll click on that, and now I have to pay attention here. See how frame 0 messed it all up there? I have to delete that. So here's her movement into the run, and she starts running. See, you could have her arms open like that, but I just want to show what it's like to switch her arms. So right here, I think I'll do it right here, right before frame 3. So what that requires is just click on this since it's already keyframed, click on this since it's already keyframed, and then go on to here, double click, press visible so it's invisible, and it creates a keyframe there, and then double click on this, make that invisible, and then that creates a keyframe there. So now her fingers are bent, which is the goal for her run. And I'll have her blink her eyes too. Well, actually, I'll skip that step. Looks like I didn't keyframe it for the eyes. That's because it's frame 0. Well, alright, I'll put that in really quick. So her eyes are open, now they're closed. I have to go to eyes closed, put that there, and I'll end it on 72. Now the pupils, I have to close those. So I have to double click and then create that and then create that there. So there it is. That was easy enough. See, I have to bring this back on. So the eyeball goes right there. See, if I move this here, that's in the wrong spot, so her eyes aren't together. So here's that there, and then here she starts her run, and then after her run I'll just have her slow down and actually maybe just transition right into the jump. So rather than go back into here and insert it there, I'll just start with her run from here, and then I'll just click on here onto your surface, and then hold it, and then just pull over those, and then just do a copy, go to frame 4 for this particular situation, and then that should allow it to copy paste. So let's see how that looks. Sometimes there's some stuff I forget and I have to go back and fix it, but so hopefully this is okay so far. Sometimes you don't know what you have until you replay the animation. So I'll do one more run cycle and see how that works. So now she has to slow down, and the way I'll do that, she has to get into her walk. So I do have the walk already prepared, but since I'm over here, I'll just do this. Delete frame 0, which was keyframed for some reason as part of the program. She goes right into her walk. That was really well done there for the transition. So now that she's in her walk, she has to slow down a little bit, and that won't happen instantly. So let's see here. I'll just go to paste that again. Oh, I can't paste that again. So here's her run, and here's where the walk starts. So I need that keyframe over here and paste it over there. So that goes over there, and then she'll smooth into that spot there, and now this will paste here. Wait a second, what just happened? Alright, I have to insert it. So I'll go here to jump and then insert there. There it is. Then I'll just delete that frame 0 since that messes things up. Now there's her preparation. There's her jump, and then there's the jump in the air. There's the landing, and I'll repeat that just for the fun of it. So she'll jump twice. Now it says 192 is the last frame, but I have to expand, so I'll just go 300 for now. Alright, so here she is here, and I'll have her jump one more time. See, I don't know where it started here. Let's see, I'd have to go back. Okay, it starts right here. So I'll copy, go here, and actually let me have her jump a little sooner. So here's she, where she started jump. Right there is good. Copy and then paste there. And then here she is, she jumps again. So there it is. There's the jump animation. And I'll just go back to frame 1, copy paste for the end. See how that landed there? So that's it. Now I'll just go 264, and then I'm not going to save this since I don't want this timeline saved, but I'll just go into animation, press OK, then it tells you where you want to save your file and the quality of the animation. If you want it as JPEG format, which is the photo JPEG, which is the highest quality, next to animation, which is the highest quality. And then I did compare the differences. JPEG is less expensive for megabytes versus animation, which is more expensive, a lot more megabytes used. For animation, there's not a critical difference as far as visual. They both look great, yet one uses a lot more memory, data. So the one that uses less is photo JPEG. So that's the one I use. But for test animation, I'll just do H264, I think it is, something like that. MPEG 4, something like that. I'd have to see it, but that's the basics of it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and like if you feel like it. But thanks a lot for watching. I hope you might have learned a little bit, and have a good day.